Proof of stealing in Victoria are 1. Identify, 2. Dishonestly, 3. Appropriates, 4. Belong... No, I'm sorry. 4 is property. 5 is belonging to another. And 6 is, 6 is...
Intention to permanently deprive Constable Doyle. I suggest you go back to the academy until you learn to get it right.
But I know it. I do know it. I do. Please believe me, I do know. I know it. I do know it. I know it. I know it.
Getting cold feet, are we?
No, of course not.
Try being the court orderly.
Yes, Mr.
Boring.
It's a pity we can't swap ways on your messages. I'm sure.
Oh, you are getting cold feet, aren't you, sweet?
No, I'm not.
Just a minute. Boss, it's Norm Turner. Do you want to take it in your office?
Norm, if it's about those bloody sheep of yours again...
How can I help you? Paula Dyson,
Listen,
please.
if they get into the National
yes, Sergeant
Park,
Dyson.
the ranger's got every right to impound them. Talk to the
Can I get you a cup of tea or coffee?
And get your...
She a good prosecutor?
You think that magistrate's tough? Wait till you see Dyson in action.
Well, at least she's on our side.
Paula Dyson is on Paula Dyson's side, which means she doesn't want any scrubs from your end.
We think Lambert's been nicking cars for the last 3 months, but this is the only one we can get him on. Sergeant Dyson?
Detective Hashem?
We probably wouldn't have got him this time either, except he crashed the car. He took off, but we got his mate.
Who's unfortunately done a bunk, and he was our main witness.
Oh, well, I'll try to have the witness's statement tendered in evidence, but it's highly unlikely it'll be accepted on its own.
I've been after Lambert a long time. I want to nail him on this one.
It's a pity you didn't keep a closer eye on the witness.
He was out on bail, Sergeant.
The only other thing I can do is bump up evidence from the second witness. It's Chris Riley. We'll put her on the stand.
PJ, got a delivery for you from the lockup at St David's.
We'll wipe that grin off your face tomorrow, Lambert.
Haven't got a thing on me.
Don't think you're off the hook just because your mate's gone.
Think I'll dob myself in, eh, Hashem?
Got another witness, Baz. You're gone.
I've got my statement. I didn't think I had to testify.
Only when we had Lambert's mate. Now we need you in court. Look, it's no big deal. You just answer a few questions.
You said make a statement and that'd be the end of it. Now I have to hang around court all day.
Our whole case depends on you identifying him, Chris.
I've got a business to run, Paige.
I'm sorry, mate. That's the situation. You're our only witness.
Well, what if you find that other bloke?
Well, Queensland's nice this time of year. I don't like our chances.
You are still looking for him.
Yeah, we're still looking for him.
You lot would lose his strides if they weren't tied around your middle. Thanks a lot, Peach. I'll think about it.
Hi, hun. Yeah, it's me.
Chris?
Listen. Yeah, I'm fine, yeah. Will you listen to me for a tip? Yeah. Can you bring a change of clothes and a razor? Yeah, well, I want to look my best, don't I? And, thought you might need to drop in on that friend I was telling you about. Yeah. Yeah, love you too, sweetheart. Bye.
Get off the desk.
Typical hobby farmers. Snap up a few acres, buy a couple of horses for the kids. A few months later, it's all too much trouble.
What's happened to the horses?
RSPCA had to put them down. The owner's been summoned to court tomorrow.
He'll go, won't he, to jail?
Well, that depends on the magistrate. Will Mrs. Riley give evidence?
She's not too happy about it.
Well, she'd better be. I don't need a possible hostile witness in the box.
Hi, I'm Jill Lambert.
Barry's Jill.
Yeah, I was wondering if we could have a talk.
Look, I don't know that we ought to be talking at all.
I just didn't know what to do. With the baby coming, and Barry going for a row, I'm sorry, but I just don't know what to do. But I guess you're right.
Look, are you all right?
Yeah. He's just having a game of footy in there. Does it to me every time I get uptight. It's been happening a lot lately.
Maybe you ought to come sit down for a while.
Len, can you watch the bar for me?
When's the baby due?
Oh, 4 weeks. Barry's been looking forward to it. Wasn't around for when little Todd came. He was,
Yeah, I can guess. Here, Toddy. Come and sit over there.
This time we booked into hospital and everything. Barry's going to be there. Oh, or he was. Oh.
Look, can I get you a cup of tea or something?
No, it'll pass.
Look, I'm sorry, Jill, but there's actually nothing I can do.
Look, Barry's had a job the last 6 months. And I don't know how the hell I'm going to cope if he's put away. Just the welfare and that. And I know he's done a few stupid things, but I just want to let you know that it wasn't his fault. It was Trev.
Is he the one that ran off?
Yeah, he's always leading Barry on. And it's Barry who gets in trouble every time they get caught. Trev, he just takes off. It's not his fault. It's not honest.
Look, maybe you could speak up for him in court.
Fat lot of good that'd do if that copper's got anything to do with it. No, he just wants to pin Barry's ears back because he gets up his nose.
Yeah, well, that cop happens to be a friend of mine.
Then you know what he's like. He doesn't have kids, does he? He wouldn't know how important it is for a man to be around when his baby comes. People reckon I was stupid marrying Barry. But he's okay. A lot of blokes get into trouble, you know.
Yeah, tell me about it.
And he's been real good to me and to Todd. It's unfair if they send him away. And I know he'll change this time. He really wants to go straight. He really does. For me and for the kids.
It's just I've never had one of these before, Tommy. Will I go to jail?
No, Mrs. Keane, you won't. It's just a summons to appear in court, that's all.
Oh, it's not knowing what's going to happen, that's the worry. They could take my licence away, couldn't they?
Look, all this means is you have to appear in court tomorrow morning. The magistrate will listen to both sides and make a decision.
I don't blame you, Constable. I'm sure he was right in doing what he did. But there are no buses out our way. If they take my licence away, how will I get into town? Look, there's the banking and the shopping. I still like to do my own shopping. Oh,
You pinching Granny's no leak? Numbers down this month?
Gotta have a hobby.
PJ, you're not listening to me. I'm not going to testify.
It'll all be over in half an hour, Chris.
That is not the point. I've got to take the day off, I've got to pay someone to mind the bar, and more importantly, it's bad for my business.
It's one case.
Look, if I told you about every bit of gossip and scandal I hear, I'd be in court for a week.
You gave us a statement saying that you saw Barry pinching that car, right?
People come to my place for a few drinks and to talk freely. If I go to court on this, they're going to think I'm some kind of dobber and they'll start going to another pub.
Look, you're our witness and this case is going on.
Even if I don't want to testify?
I'm not playing games here, Chrissy. You're coming to court.
We'll see about that.
I don't know what's gotten into Chris. Our whole case against Lambert washes down the drain without her.
All right, we'll subpoena her. Force her to appear.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Not ideal. I'd rather Chris was on our side. If I have to make her appear, I will.
I've been after this hoon for ages. I got this close to pinching him on the Widgery burglary last year.
Let me talk to her.
It's not your case, Sergeant.
No one does anything till I've had a word with her, all right? This is our town and Chris is a friend.
Fine. But Detective Hasham can still organise that subpoena in case. It might be your town, Sergeant. The court is my territory.
Hi. You look exhausted. Didn't get much sleep last night.
Courtroom jitters, love.
You want to see how it's done, Wayne? Come and watch me.
Hey, is PJ going to really subpoena Chris?
Well, it's up to her, isn't it?
Boss will make us see sense.
I just don't want to get involved.
You are involved. You gave a statement.
And maybe I'm not so sure anymore.
Look, this wouldn't have anything to do with Jill coming to see you, would it?
How did you? Oh, small towns, I love them. And no, it doesn't have anything to do with Jill. You know and I know she'd be better off without him, but she loves him and it's her life. I don't want to have any part of that.
Don't take that on your shoulders, Chris. It's not worth the grief. Just go into court and tell the truth.
I don't want to have anything to do with this.
Listen, PJ is just doing his job. Lambert knocked off that car and he rode it off. He cops the consequences and you are a witness whether you like it or not.
Same again, thanks, Chris. You got lined up to do the bar tomorrow?
Maybe I won't need anyone.
You're pushing PJ into a corner, Chris.
Yeah, well, maybe he started pushing first.
Well, he's a cop.
Yeah, and I'm not, all right? End of story.
And the video recorder for the Mackay case.
Okay, check. That's all the exhibits.
So, it's just after 9 p.m. and you spotted Maud driving down the centre of the main road.
That's right. She was driving down the centre of the main road because she believes it's safer that way. It keeps all the other motorists off the road.
And what was her excuse for driving over the new roundabout?
It wasn't there last time she came into town.
This all true?
Look, I'm telling you, she's a living, breathing road hazard.
And she hasn't had an accident in, what, 60 years?
Sure, but how many has she caused, eh?
We'll probably all get run in for abusing senior citizens.
Thought you might want to go over your statement before you appear in court.
Yes, well, I won't need to because I'm not going.
Private word.
Too right. It's different for you. Look, you give evidence in court, some bloke gets locked up. It's your job, it doesn't affect you. But it's not my job, and I don't want to play God with some family's life.
You're a witness to a crime, mate.
Not a very good one.
I need you to testify, Chrissy, otherwise Lambert will walk, okay?
It's not my problem your main witness got away from you.
Look, I thought we were friends.
So did I, so leave me out of it.
I can't.
I have got a business to run, and I do not like being told what to do.
So what about your responsibility?
To what and to who?
Come on, you've always had a soft spot for his type.
What type?
He reminds you of your husband.
That's below the belt,
Chris,
PJ.
Chris, look, Lambert is not like Terry.
Look, you want me in court, make me.
All right.
You had this with you all the time. You bastard.
If you fail to comply with this, you may be arrested.
You wouldn't dare.
Try me.
So what happened? Did you manage to talk to her friend?
Yeah, I talked to her.
Did she say anything I should know about?
No. I did my best, Barry. I told that you're a real good bloke deep down. How much we need you.
Look, I promise you, if we get clear of this, we'll pack our stuff and get away, eh? We'll leave the cops and everything behind. We'll make a fresh start. Any way you like.
You want me to talk to her again?
Don't know. If you get a chance.
Wouldn't want to expand your business interests, would you, Chris? Little Bird's told me there are a few farmers wanting to sell their properties.
Oh, this place is a big enough headache, thanks.
You're involved in the Barry Lambert case, aren't you? Look, you'd be doing me a favour if Mr. Lambert went for a little holiday, if you know what I mean.
No, I don't know what you mean.
Oh, look, they've been nothing but trouble since they rented that dump. Oh, well, that house. Oh, I'd be glad to see the back of them. I could do a few minor repairs and get a nice little rent for that property.
Oh, excuse me, Constable. I'd like a word with Mrs. Lambert. I'll be right with you.
Come on, Todd.
Hey, Todd.
Hi, policeman.
So, what did Barry and Jill have to say?
Some woman friend she'd spoken to about the mess he's gotten himself into.
Ah, one guess who that friend would be.
Well, Chris isn't exactly a great friend of theirs, so I think she might have used the old babe and arm routines on her.
Yeah. I would have thought Chris would be too smart to fall for all that.
PJ, I would have thought Chris would be too smart to be pushed around by anyone.
Why don't you get off our backs?
Barry going straight, is he?
You never give up, do you? You're always trying to get him on something. You know, we'd be okay if you could just leave us alone.
Actually, I thought I was doing you a favour. Getting him out of your hair for a while.
What would you know? Barry loves me.
I'm warning you, Jill. You stay away from my witness or you'll be going too. Do you understand that?
Yeah, you arrest me. And him. You put us all in jail.
We received the initial call at 3:47 and attended Mr. Blakely's store. I then spoke to Mr. Blakely, the store manager. I then spoke to Mr. Mackay and I showed him the stolen item and I asked him, what can you tell me about this? He said he never...
Shouldn't you be in court?
Yeah, I was just leaving, boss. Boss, everything is fine when I'm arresting them. I know I've got my facts straight. It's just in court. If only they didn't act like they don't believe you.
Well, they don't. Well, our side does, but the other bloke just wants to rattle you.
And that makes me feel better.
I wouldn't have thought this sort of thing would worry you.
It doesn't worry Nick or Wayne.
It's not a competition, Doyle. Just stick to the facts. Don't make anything up or trip yourself up. Try and be as accurate as you can.
Easily said.
My big secret is just concentrate on a point just above the head of whoever's questioning you. That way you can keep your concentration and they always think you're looking at them.
And it works?
Every time. Now hop it.
Thanks, boss.
Doyle, have you got everything?
Yep. Tar.
Aspirin?
Waste of a whole bloody day.
You're on the morning list. We'll be out by lunchtime. We'll pay the fine and get out of here.
That'd be right, wouldn't it? You starve 6 horses to death, all he'll cop is a fine.
Listen, stick a smart-ass city lawyer and a smart-ass city client in front of Thorpe. Just sit back and watch, Patterson.
She's not here yet, mate.
As a result of speaking to Mr. Blakely, the store manager, I spoke to Mr. Mackay and I showed him the stolen item and I asked him, what can you tell me about this? He said he had never seen it before. I said, you are under arrest. Anything you say may be taken and used in evidence. Do you understand? He said, yes. I then attended Mount Thomas Police Station with Mr. Mackay, where he was subsequently charged with theft.
Is there anything else you'd like to add to this, Constable?
No.
Thank you, Constable.
Mr. Price?
I put it to you, Constable Doyle, that you made up your mind to arrest my client prior to speaking to him.
No, that is not correct. There was another witness to the theft, and your client was observed taking the property.
But I have a witness who I will be calling on my client's behalf, who will say that the stolen item in question was placed on my client's person by you. What do you say to that, Constable?
Your Worship, at this point of time, we don't have our principal witness, the store manager, here. However, he will be available this afternoon. Perhaps this matter could be put down the list till then?
We'll have a short recess.
The point is, you should have had your witness ready to give evidence.
I didn't think it would be necessary. Anybody can see Mackay got his girlfriend to lie for him.
Was she in the store with him?
Yes, but
there are no buts in a courtroom, Constable.
Blakely's not at the store. He's taken the day off.
I had it put down the list because I said we'd have him there this afternoon. Now, he'd better be, Constable. Because I don't want to be the one to explain to Thorpe that the police in this town have about as much respect for the court system as half the idiots they arrest.
I don't think there's much I can add to that, Doyle. How do you expect to find this Blakely if you're in court all afternoon?
Well, I could do it, but I've got to deal with Maud.
I can make a few phone calls, boss. See if I can find him.
Saved by the skin of your teeth, Doyle. She's cutting it a bit fine, isn't she?
She's not here in 5 minutes. I'll drag her out of the pub.
Well, that's your case.
Your Worship, my client has very pressing business in Melbourne. He is willing to admit to the oversight of providing certain care for the animals in question. And rather than waste the court's time or that of my clients,
he's done it now.
Enter a plea and...
Your Worship, are you aware of the time?
Nice move, sir.
Yes. Yes, of course, Sergeant Dyson. Thank you for reminding me. The court will recess.
Really, Your Worship, I don't see that this matter is going to take up too much of the court's time. Perhaps we could deal with it prior to the adjournment.
I'd like to see Mr. Gardner contemplating his actions during the recess, Mr. Drew. He can be remanded in police custody until after lunch.
I strongly
There's justice
protest,
after
Your
all,
Worship.
Patterson.
My client is one of the most reputable businessmen in Melbourne.
Court adjourned.
Don't worry, he hasn't heard the last of this.
Oh, shut up, Richard. Fat lot of good that's going to do me now.
I'll have something sent over to you.
That's all right, Mr. Drew. We feed our prisoners.
Yeah, horse pie.
No luck, boss. His wife said that Maggie's witness has gone fishing. Won't be back till tomorrow. Sorry.
What's he in for? In you go.
I must be psychic.
Hmm?
Oh, I knew something would go wrong today.
Well, you're not the only one.
Really, Your Worship, it's not my client's fault if the case is not ready to proceed. I mean, how much longer does the prosecution need?
I can sympathise with your client's impatience, Mr. Price. But I think in this matter there is a necessity to hear the store manager's evidence. I'm prepared to hear the matter tomorrow. Next.
Mrs. Keane is an 80-year-old pensioner with no previous convictions, and living alone, Your Worship, she is extremely dependent on her car to get into town.
I note your plea on Mrs. Keane's behalf, Mr. Price. However, I have to consider the safety of other drivers. I also take into account the medical report and Senior Constable Schultz's evidence. The court has no choice but to cancel Mrs. Keane's license.
The defendant, Mr. Russo, was seen acting suspiciously outside a house on Werriwa Road. A neighbour parked his car behind the defendant's van in the driveway to prevent him from driving away. The neighbour then called the police. Mr. Russo then attempted to drive the van across the lawn, but became bogged. Mr. Russo then abandoned the vehicle, ran to the shed, broke in and stole the owner's tractor. He then drove the tractor through the closed roller door, across several paddocks, ploughed through 5 fences and then crossed into Compton's piggery, where he broke into the house and rang for a cab. Mr. Russo then arranged to be picked up on the main highway nearby. By then, Constable Patterson and I had arrived.
Just as well. Mr. Russo might have toured the whole district.
If I don't get to see my client in 5 minutes, I'll be making an official complaint.
No need for that, Mr. Drew.
I have to take instructions from my client.
We're simply following the directions of the magistrate. Constable Doyle, would you take Mr. Drew out to the locker?
If you'd like to come this way, please, Mr. Drew.
I think Doyle could use a cup or two.
Sure.
Right, Mrs. Keane. We better see about getting you home.
I don't know what I'm going to do now, Tommy. I feel so useless. I suppose I'll have to sell the car.
Oh, I think it'd be a collector's item. I reckon it'd be worth a fair bit.
I can't imagine what I'd be without it. I used to do all the driving even when Harry was alive.
I know. Still, it had to happen sometime, Mrs. Keane.
All us old crocs think we can go on driving forever. I suddenly feel very old, Tommy.
We better see about getting you and the car home. Nick, will you drive Mrs. Keane home?
Oh,
Turn it up. It's a bit embarrassing, isn't it?
That's what it's all about, Schultz. Responsibility right down the line. Now off you go.
Yeah, all right.
Now, I hope you're a good driver, Constable.
Good luck.
Thank you, dear. And don't drive too fast, will you?
No, Mrs. Keane, I'll stay well within the limit.
And don't drive too far to the left. There's some very loose ground on those areas.
Yeah, all right.
You do know the country road around here, don't you?
Yes, I know.
Don't forget to use your way.
Yes, all right.
On the night Mr. Lambert was arrested, you had a conversation with a Trevor Martin, who was present with the defendant at the time these offences took place.
Yes, I took his statement.
Objection, Your Worship. I don't believe the witness is present or is even likely to be called to this hearing.
The witness is unable to be located at this time. However, I do have a signed statement from him, and I intend to tender it in evidence.
I'll hear the legal argument between counsel and the prosecution. This is not to be recorded. You can stand down, thank you, Detective.
Your Worship, Trevor Martin admitted to being with Mr. Lambert when the vehicle was stolen. A great deal of the prosecution's case hinges on his statement. I therefore seek to tender his evidence.
Your Worship, Mr. Martin is still at large. He's not likely to appear before this or any other court. We dispute many of the facts in his statement, and for his evidence to be credible, well, he must appear here in court. I do not have to tell Your Worship that my client is still in custody, and I submit, Your Worship, that the matter be heard now is a matter of urgency.
Anything further, Sergeant?
No, Your Worship.
Very well. As a result of the matters before me, the application for the statement to be tendered in evidence is refused.
Then I call Christine Bridget Riley.
Christine Bridget Riley. Christine Bridget Riley.
Well, I better round her up.
You saw two male persons, Barry Thomas Lambert and Trevor Martin, break into a vehicle at the rear of your hotel, is that correct?
Objection, Your Worship. The prosecutor is leading the witness.
I'd like to hear the facts from the witness herself, Sergeant Dyson.
Mrs. Riley, can you tell us in your own words exactly what you saw that night?
I saw a couple of blokes drive off in Peter Cooper's car.
Can you identify those men?
I think so.
Well, could you identify them in court, please?
Barry Lambert and Trevor Martin. I'm pretty sure it was them.
Mrs. Riley, did you or did you not see Barry Lambert in the car park outside your hotel?
I think so.
Think, Mrs. Riley. Either you did or you didn't. Think's got nothing to do with it. Tell me, how dark was it that night?
It's pretty dark.
Uh-huh. And how many lights are there out the back of the hotel?
There's a spot along the back porch and then the street lights along one side.
So the car park was, as you say, pretty dark.
I suppose so.
Your Worship, the defence is leading the witness.
I will allow the question, Sergeant Dyson.
Mrs. Riley, how good is your eyesight?
It's fine.
You wear reading glasses, though, don't you?
Yes, but I can still read without them.
When you were looking out the window this night, were you wearing your glasses?
Yes, but I took them off. I'm not short-sighted.
Very well. It was fairly common for you to have a drink at the end of your shift, isn't it?
Objection.
I'll be interested to see where this leads.
In fact, you like to have a couple of scotches, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Did you on this particular night?
Yes, I did.
Mrs. Riley, given these facts, you're not sure what you saw, are you?
I'm not 100% sure, no.
Can you say, with 100% certainty, who the two men were at the car on the night in question?
No, I can't.
How did you go? No luck, sorry.
No reason to think she was lying, PJ, not under oath.
All right, then, she allowed herself to be led.
If she wasn't 100% certain, we have to believe her.
Well, she was certain when she gave a statement.
She wasn't being cross-examined then.
She's lied to us once before.
That was different. She was trying to protect her husband. She wouldn't have any interest in a bloke like Lambert.
He may be. But his wife might have softened her up.
Chris didn't come down in the last shower, you
She
know.
let me down, boss.
Don't you turn this into something personal, PJ.
It's a bit late for that.
G'day, Tom. Detective Hasham. Just picking up my stuff.
You're lucky this time, Baz.
Told you it wouldn't stick. Persecution, that's what it was.
We'll meet again, you can bet on that.
All right, sign there and check the contents.
She'll be right. I trust you.
Good on you.
See ya. On, say ta to Mrs. Riley for us, will you?
Get out of here, Lambert. Hey. Don't let that bloke get under your skin, PJ. There'll be another day you can lay book on us.
Yeah, well, it would have been today if the odds weren't stacked against me.
Look, it was one bloke who stole a car. What are you so obsessed about? So he gets up your nose, that's not my problem, you deal with it.
He's not just any bloke, Chris. He's gotten away with a lot of crooked things, and this was the one job that I could nail him on.
Then you shouldn't have needed me to do it.
So what about his victims? Or don't they count?
Of course they count.
Then why did you deliberately vague off in court?
I was asked if I was absolutely certain I saw Barry take that car, and in hindsight, I couldn't swear to it.
Really? Well, I wish I could believe you.
And maybe you've been a cop so long you wouldn't know the truth if you fell over it.
You know, I thought I knew you. Thought we were friends.
Friends don't back each other into corners, Peach. And they don't throw things up into their faces to get their own way. I don't like being bullied.
Yeah, and I don't like being lied to either.
Is that what you thought I did? Is that what you thought?
I don't know. Look. How do we get back on even keel?
We can't. Not if you don't trust me.
Philip fined him the maximum penalty for each horse and banned him from owning another horse for 5 years. I think he got the message.
Well, Thorpe's a horse lover from way back. If he could have put Gardner away, he would have.
At least you got a taste of cell life over lunch.
Won't affect Gardner much, though, will it? He'll just find another tax dodge and move on to something else.
Yeah, but at least he's out of the hobby farming business. Doyle, are you going to sit over that phone all night?
Mr. Blakely's going to call. I want to make sure he's going to be in court tomorrow.
Well, don't forget to lock up.
I'll catch up with you. Would you like me to bring you back some dinner from the pub?
Oh, Rose, thanks, but I really don't feel like eating.
Hey, don't be so hard on yourself. It could have happened to anyone.
But it didn't, did it?
Has Wayne ever told you about his first court appearance?
Yes, and he said he was brilliant.
Oh, really? Well, I was there. And up to a point, I guess he was sort of brilliant. It was before we were married. He was so pumped up about giving evidence. I had to rehearse him for days. He wanted me to be their sort of moral support. And he was word perfect.
Listen, Roz, if you're telling me this to make me feel
I
better...
haven't finished yet. But if you ever let on to Wayne...
I cross my heart.
Okay. Everything was perfect, except for one small detail. He got the name of the crim wrong. He spelt Smith with an I instead of a Y-E. Case was thrown out of court. His sergeant wouldn't let him forget about it for a whole year, and it was a lot more serious than shoplifting.
Roz, I don't think Wayne's going to let me forget about this for a whole year either.
Well, if he keeps giving you a hard time, you have my permission to use any information you might need to defend yourself.
Listen, I'm on your side. Getting Maud Keane off the road's probably saved half a dozen lives.
Well, if she drove as well as she does being a backseat driver, she could drive until she was 150, I wouldn't care.
She'll give you a bit of a hard time, mate.
Keep away from the rough stuff on the side of the road against them.
Mrs. Blakely, I'm very sorry to keep pestering you, but... Yes, I see. Thank you. Yes, I'll be here. Bye-bye.
Looking late, aren't you?
Well, if Blakely doesn't turn up, Mackay's going to walk and I'm going to look like a real drongo.
Tell me about it.
Thought you'd be at the pub.
I had some things to sort out.
Sorry about Lambert.
Yeah.
Well, that's the way it goes when you have to rely on witnesses, eh?
PJ, it's none of my business, but I got to know Chris pretty well when I was living at the pub, and she's not as tough as she makes out, you know?
Meaning?
Or maybe Jill got to her without her really knowing it.
Makes sense, Mag.
She's not a cop, PJ. And I think it'd be a shame if you two fell out over someone like the Lamberts. They're not worth it.
Tell me about it.
The bastard's taken off on me. He's cleaned out the whole house and he's gone.
Where's young Todd?
Dropped him over a friend's place. Bastard, how could he do this to us?
Drink your tea. Check with the neighbours, see if anyone saw anything. He would needed a truck to move all that furniture.
Where did they get a truck from?
Nothing's been reported stolen.
Yet? How'd he clear the house out without her knowing?
He said he had a surprise. Told her to go to a friend's place for a couple of hours and that when she got home, he'd have that surprise.
Oh, he surprised her, all right.
All the furniture's rented in her name. He's really left her holding the bag. He even took all the rent money from her purse. Although he did leave enough money for a taxi fare.
Ah, thoughtful.
Could be on his way to Queensland. She'll join him later.
No, she seems genuine enough. Let's see Lambert get out of this one.
Burning the midnight oil last night, Maggie.
Hey, Wayne, can you tell me if I've spelt this name correctly?
Sure.
Or is it with an I?
Thanks, Big Mouth.
Should have everything over by lunchtime with luck.
Good. Then this place can get back to normal. No offence.
Looking forward to seeing the back of this town myself. You ready, Constable?
Yes.
Let's finish it up.
Boss? I checked on Barry again, still no sign of him at the house, but Len Murdoch rented him a van yesterday afternoon.
Registration?
Got it.
We'll get on to VKC and let everybody know.
It's all arranged, boss.
What?
A roster for helping Maud Keane to do her shopping. CWA's arranged for her to get into town twice a week.
Good. Why don't you hang a shingle out the front? Mount Thomas Mission for the friendless and homeless.
We've all got to do our bit.
Yeah.
There he is. I found him out in Condamine Road. He got himself bogged.
Oh, you never learn, do you, Bass?
Now, it's not what we thought, boss. You better hear him out. I reckon PJ should hear it too. Come on, Sonny.
After listening to the testimony of Constable Doyle and Mr. Blakely, I can only say, Mr. Mackay, not only have you wasted this court's time with your trumped-up allegations against
What time did
Constable
Blakely
Doyle,
get back to you?
3 o'clock this morning.
He must have gone fishing in Perth. Well, next time, have your witnesses ready to back you up. You were lucky this time.
alternatives before me. The court has no choice but to impose a 3-month custodial sentence upon you.
Yesterday when I was out the back, there was this joker in the cell.
Yeah, Gardner.
Yeah, well, we got talking. Geez, it really put the wind up in being locked up out there, you know.
Get on with it.
Well, I give him what for, you know. When he's telling me about letting them poor horses starve, he starts talking about giving up his farm. Well, that's when I got my idea. I said I was looking for a bigger place. And he said I could rent his place. Cheap, too. I think he just wants good riddance. Well, you can ring him and check if you don't believe me.
Don't worry, we will.
So why didn't you tell your wife?
Well, I wanted to surprise her. You know, put all our stuff in the new place. Trouble is, I get bogged in the middle of nowhere, and I couldn't get back in time before she goes off hollering to you lot. Geez, you reckon she'd trust a bloke by now, wouldn't you?
He's heading out to Garden Place.
You rotten mongrel.
Good.
All the trouble I went to for you. Crawling on my stomach to
Well,
that
you
woman
shut
and
up,
everything.
Jilly.
You know something? I thought I was getting through to her. Till I told her you were just out to get us. She turns around and says you're a mate of hers. She's doing okay up till then. You rotten mongrel.
It's not what you think, Jilly.
I'll stand by you every inch of the way.
The things I don't believe in. Wedded Liz and Barry Lambert going great.
I got us a new farm for you and the
Don't
kids.
slam the doors.
I told you you'd start a fresh start.
Have a nice life together. What do you want to drink?
Yes, please.
Wait.
You spoil his rhythm.
Go home, you look exhausted.
And admit I'm a wuss, no way.
Constable. Look, I was tough on you. And I'm not going to apologise for that because you're young, you're new, and you can do better. It's a learning process. And after what you've put me through, I think you should buy me a drink.
I think after what you've put me through,
We should buy each other a drink.
There's someone outside to see you, Nick.
Oh, well, I'm off duty. Who is it?
Maud Keane says she wants to lift home.
Off you go, off you go.
New colour.
I didn't know you wore glasses.
Not many people do. Only wear them reading in bed.
Sometimes I think I'm long-sighted. Can't see what's staring me in the face.
Is that an admission?
Would I admit anything to you, Chrissy?
You could try me. Admissions are sometimes easier than apologies.
Maybe we could beg for each other's forgiveness over a couple of scotches at the end of the night, eh?
Begging's not my style, Paige.
Can't get near it. Have another drink. Trying to nobble me, Patterson. There's a law against that, you know.
Boss, I can see your problem. I can see your problem.
Yeah.
My big secret. You got to focus at a point at the top of the board. That way you keep your concentration, and the board always stays in the same place, looking at you.
That works, eh?
Yep. Every time.
Does the wall stay in the same place too?
Proof of stealing in Victoria are 1. Identify, 2. Dishonestly, 3. Appropriates, 4. Belong... No, I'm sorry. 4 is property. 5 is belonging to another. And 6 is, 6 is...
Intention to permanently deprive Constable Doyle. I suggest you go back to the academy until you learn to get it right.
But I know it. I do know it. I do. Please believe me, I do know. I do know it. I know it. I know it.
Getting cold feet, are we?
No, of course not.
Try being the court orderly.
Yes, Mr.
Boring.
It's a pity we can't swap, Wayne.
Pass on your messages, I'm sure.
Oh,
we'll get
you
back
are
to
getting
as soon
cold
as
feet, aren't you,
possible.
sweet?
No, I'm not.
Just a minute. Boss, it's Norm Turner. Do you want to take it in your office?
Norm, if it's about those bloody sheep of yours again...
How can I help you?
Paula Dyson,
Listen,
please.
if they get into the National
yes, Sergeant
Park,
Dyson.
the Ranger's
Wait,
got
Steve, come
every
through.
right to impound.
Can I get you a cup of tea or coffee?
She a good prosecutor?
You think that magistrate's tough? Wait till you see Dyson in action.
Well, at least she's on our side.
Paula Dyson is on Paula Dyson's side, which means she doesn't want any scrubs from your end.
We think Lambert's been nicking cars for the last 3 months, but this is the only one we can get him on. Sergeant Dyson?
Detective Hashem?
We probably wouldn't have got him this time either, except he crashed the car. He took off, but we got his mate.
Who's unfortunately done a bunk, and he was our main witness.
Oh, well, I'll try to have the witness's statement tendered in evidence, but it's highly unlikely it'll be accepted on its own.
I've been after Lambert a long time. I want to nail him on this one.
It's a pity you didn't keep a closer eye on the witness.
He was out on bail, Sergeant.
The only other
short of-
thing I can do is bump up evidence from the second witness. It's Chris Riley. We'll put her on the stand.
PJ, got a delivery for you from the lockup at St David's.
We'll wipe that grin off your face tomorrow, Lambert.
Haven't got a thing on me.
Don't think you're off the hook just because your mate's gone.
Think I'll dob myself in, eh, Hashem?
Got another witness, Baz? You're gone.
Got my statement. I didn't think I had to testify.
Only when we had Lambert's mate. Now we need you in court. Look, it's no big deal. You just answer a few questions.
You said make a statement and that'd be the end of it. Now I have to hang around court all day.
Our whole case depends on you identifying him, Chris.
I've got a business to run, Paige.
I'm sorry, mate. That's the situation. You're our only witness.
Well, what if you find that other bloke?
Well, Queensland's nice this time of year. Don't like our chances.
You are still looking for him.
Yeah, we're still looking for him.
You lot would lose his strides if they weren't tied around your middle. Thanks a lot, Peach. I'll think about it.
Hi, hun. Yeah, it's me.
Chris?
Listen. Yeah, I'm fine, yeah. Will you listen to me for a tip? Yeah. Can you bring a change of clothes and a razor? Yeah, well, I want to look my best, don't I? And, thought you might need to drop in on that friend I was telling you about. Yeah. Yeah, love you too, sweetheart. Bye.
Get her off the desk.
Typical hobby farmers. Snap up a few acres, buy a couple of horses for the kids. A few months later, it's all too much trouble.
What's happened to the horses?
RSPCA had to put them down. The owner's been summoned to court tomorrow.
He'll go, won't he, to jail?
Well, that depends on the magistrate. Will Mrs. Riley give evidence?
She's not too happy about it.
Well, she'd better be. I don't need a possible hostile witness in the box. Hi.